So the order comes back to China is not because China is perfect. It's only because China is more reliable.
Hey David, why are so many European and American orders coming back to China this year?
This year, orders are coming back to China much faster. It's not a slow shift. You can really feel it. A lot of people think it's not because China got cheaper. That's not really what happened. What changed is that other places become much more expensive and also less stable at the same time. In Europe, after a few wars, energy costs went up. That didn't just affect electricity, it pushed the whole production cost higher. Dyeing became much more expensive, finishing became much more expensive. Even running a factory day to day is now heavier. So even the factory is still good, the final price is much harder for brands to accept. For some high-end products, it still works, but for some commercial knitwear, it's become difficult. There are a lot of brands moved to Southeastern Asia. That makes sense in the beginning, but in the last 1 or 2 years, things started to change there as well. Labor cost is no longer as low as before. Management cost increased. At the same time, the efficiency didn't improve at the same level. So the price advantage is not as clear as people expected. And when the real pressure comes, problems become more visible. Some factories can handle small runs, but when volume goes up, it becomes difficult to manage. Consistency is also not always stable. Sometimes the sample is fine, but bulk is not exactly the same. And when something needs to be adjusted, the response is often slower than brands expected. One important reason is that supply chain is not complete enough. For knitwear, that matters a lot. You need the right yarn source, you need stable washing and finishing. If one part is missing or not stable enough, you will see it in the final product. Now if you look at China, it's not a different situation. Costs did move, but not in a dramatic way. Because the system here is already mature. Factories are used to handling larger orders. The whole supply chain is already built and connected. So what happened is this year is actually quite simple. The price difference becomes smaller, but the difference in capacity is still there. And that changed the decision. Especially in a year like this, the market is under pressure. Sales are not strong. Inventory is still sitting in the warehouse. Brands are much more cautious now. They don't want to try new setups. If delivery is late, they miss the season. If quality is not right, they lose margin very quickly. So they go back to somewhere they already understand. That is China. Not because it's perfect, but because it's predictable. If something changes, it can react. If something goes wrong, it can be corrected. And when volume increases, it can be still handled. For knitwear, this becomes even more important because it's not just about producing a garment. If the yarn structure or density, anything is slightly off, the whole product changes. So if the system behind is not strong enough, the problem will always come later. That's why this year the return is so obvious. It's not about finding the lowest price, it's about avoiding risk. And right now, China is still the most reliable place to do that. But even in China, not every supplier can handle this properly, especially for men's knitwear, because it requires control from the very beginning, not just production. That's where the real difference is. We are Spreadlit. We only make men's knitwear.